to Teller Time, your local listen-in to the people, places, and stories that make our community shine. I'm your host, Thom Seehafer, and whether you're walking the dog, driving into town, or just sipping coffee at home, we thank you for joining us.
We've got a guest who knows this county from the ground up and the sky down, Sheriff Jason Mikesell, Teller County's top lawman, tactical trainer, and hometown protector, and possibly, who knows what he could possibly be next. From counterterrorism to community town halls, he's got tales, insights, and maybe a few surprises. So buckle up, Teller County. This is Teller Time, and we're just getting started. Jason, good morning, and thank you for joining us today. Give us a little background on you and your involvement in Teller County.
A little bit about me. So I grew up here in Teller County. Went to school in Crook Creek, Colorado. Went to work for the Teller County Sheriff's Office after a stint in the Park County Sheriff's Office. Have been here almost 28 years in law enforcement, wow. 8 of which, or almost, it's 9 of which now as the Sheriff of Teller County. Okay. It's just been my pride. My 3 boys grew up here. I've got one son that's in law enforcement now. I have one son that's in security technologies in California, and I've got one son in the 173rd Airborne in Vicenza, Italy. So. Wow. Everywhere.
Scattered all over the map.
Scattered all over the map. I've got a beautiful wife. She's running the 2 restaurants in Woodland Park, which is the 110 Reserve and the Ute Lodge Bar and Grill. And we have some other businesses in Woodland Park, but just have really enjoyed our time here.
Okay. So let's talk about, if we can, a success rate. What has been one of your more successful things maybe that you've done in Teller County in your term as sheriff?
You know, I think raising my boys was the number one thing here in this local community. Not easy as a sheriff's sons.
Right.
I think the other side is just where the agency is now. I think that's one of my most prideful moments. It's grown to where it's about 120 some personnel. The sheriff's office now is a very stable place to be. We pay for what they do well. And it's now become a multi-generational agency where you have the sons of people that I worked with now work here. Okay. We actually have retirees. We really had not had that before because people came and go so quickly here. I think it now is part of the community, so there's a big community response out of the sheriff's office. They now have a new building, new vehicles, new equipment, better pay, better retirements, better everything, and they're better for the community. Because now you see us involved in so many things, and then the HDSA is a big part of that, our Honorary Deputy Sheriff Association, and what they bring to the community. And, I think the best thing for me is just watching so much mentorship being done in the office to where I know that for generations now after me, right, you'll have sheriffs and command staff and personnel that come from here.
Okay. What is one thing about rural law enforcement that most people totally misunderstand?
Well, here's what's misunderstood most about this county.
Okay.
We're not really rural anymore.
Oh boy.
Right? We're not really a rural county anymore. Okay. But I think the biggest thing that's misunderstood is that you don't train as much. You're not as prepared as many organizations. I will tell you, this organization, although we are not as rural as we used to be, right, we're not a large agency either. We're that mid-size sheriff's office and up to a larger office. But we are prepared and we do train. Our deputies probably train more than any other agency in the state of Colorado on all their base skills and all their operations. We have actually done more large-scale events than most large agencies across Colorado, from fires to some of our counter-terrorist type stuff to, you have the Texas 7 here, so the historical events for law enforcement. All those things have happened in Teller County, so it's not like a lot of rural agencies where you don't see many things.
Well, you're very involved. I know you got the FBI, you got, you're very involved with ICE. Yep. Up here, a lot of things. There's a lot of, from what I see, it's not just a little podunk Mayberry type town up here and what you're doing. So, a lot of involvement, a lot of visibility in what you're doing, a lot of success rates in what you're doing with, getting drugs off the street, getting the bad people off the street, whatever. So that's one thing Facebook is good about, is the fact that it does show your success rate and what you're doing, what you've been doing. You're very visible in the community, and that's what people like to see. And of course, you're not always going to have, the cheerleaders. You're always going to have the finger pointers and the scab pickers. But no, since I've known you, I just watched everything grow from what you're doing, what your officers are doing. So it's very impressive. So if my research is correct, you grew up having a grandfather as a chief of police and a father who served in Vietnam?
I did. So yeah, my grandfather was the chief of police of Abilene, Kansas, in its heydays. He moved here to Chipeta Park, and then raised a family here too. And my father was in Vietnam. He was in the Navy, and he was doing the underwater demolitions. Back at the time, it was called the Frogmen.
Okay.
Off the riverboats, which was, I think they call that the Blackwater Navy, where they would go up the rivers. And so he did do a stint in Vietnam, and then I was fortunate. I had great parents, right?
Right.
But my dad was more the stay-at-home dad, and then my mom did a lot of. She worked in the casinos and also worked in Cripple Creek, and so I always had it was just a different kind of upbringing where I had the female in my family, my mother,
Right.
who was really the breadwinner for the most part, and my dad was really that stay-at-home person with us every day, and he worked on the side and did things. But back then there wasn't a lot of jobs until our
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously that, again, how that shaped your leadership skills? I mean, you had a lot of role models obviously there from, relatives, parents, grandparents, everything. So, I mean, hopefully that's what our parents hope their kids will do, will follow in their lead and just use the same, teaching methods and follow suit in what they've been teaching the kids, and the kids will just, like your officers are doing, carry on or carry forth what they've been taught. So.
No, you're absolutely right. I think for me, watching how things have developed over the years and being around a lot of good leaders in my life, both professionally and then also bad leaders, right? We actually learn more from bad leaders than we ever do good leaders, because they set such a precedence. And I've seen a lot of bad leaders in law enforcement. And I think learning from those things and understanding where those mistakes were made, and understanding that you have to have a mentorship program that is more than you, and you have to expect that those people behind you will be better than you, and you want to get them to that location.
Right.
So that they can create just a much better agency and organization after you leave. That's how you instill mentorship. It's not from being at the top all the time, it's through others.
Well, it's like with my students, I teach them, and when they start teaching other students, they're basically sort of repeating the lessons that I taught them almost verbatim. And that sort of just gives me a chill right there, because it's telling me they're learning, they're picking up. So it's a good, role model for me to see the fact that the kids, like your officers again, are learning, and they're carrying on, they're adding on, they're enhancing what you taught them, and then they're going to put their own little spin on it. And all of a sudden it just grows and grows more and more, and suddenly you've got a phenomenal program here. So that's really phenomenal to hear. What's the wildest situation you and your officers have ever faced that didn't make the news but should have? These are some interesting questions, yes.
I had a situation that occurred many years ago. I was a SWAT team commander and sniper at the time. And we had a guy that called in one morning saying he was going to go to the local kindergarten and murder all the children. And I remember we went to the house, and he fired on our Bearcat almost immediately. And then this gentleman had come out of the Army. He was really big. I just remember that. He ran off in the woods, and we chased him. Well, the next morning about sunup, and he had shot at us with a really high-power rifle at the time. And I remember I took a team of 3 of us into the backcountry, and we tracked him for probably 6 or 7 hours through the backcountry woods. The guy actually has some knowledge on how to shoot, and he may have been an ex-sniper in the Army.
Okay.
I had been doing the Scout Sniper program here for about 6 years. So you're constantly moving and coming on new positions and scanning areas, and so somebody can't fire upon you. And I think we were about 5 miles back into the backcountry in a really remote area of Teller County, and the snow had come down, and I bet you that snow was probably 2 foot deep.
Okay.
And I remember this guy was like 6'7", 6'8".
Jeez.
So when he'd take a stride, man, 3 of our strides to his. And I remember we had to set up a counter ambush in the backcountry because he was supposedly going to go kill other people. Yeah, it was pretty violent. That was probably the most harrowing story I've dealt with.
Okay.
And then one of the guys with us, he couldn't keep up with us because it was so far in the back. And he was a great big guy, and he just couldn't keep up. So me and the other one, we got to him and were able to actually take him into custody after a pretty good little disagreement in the snow.
Right. Oh,
and I just remember, you were just so far back in.
Right. Okay.
That was probably one of the crazier stories.
Yeah. And that happened in Teller County.
Teller County, yeah.
How long ago was that, roughly, if I can ask?
Gosh, that was probably 13, 14 years ago
now.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Tell me a little bit about your reserve deputy program.
So before I left, I think I was a sergeant when I started the reserve deputy program. At that time, we had about 28 reserves. We had our own reserve academy. It was going really strong. The state changed the laws to make it hard for reserves to become reserves at that point. Okay. So we lost most all of them. So I think I'm down to like 5 reserves now. It's a good program. But the problem is that you have to take somebody that's a volunteer and send them through the 560 hours of an academy to get them to the certification level in the state. And then they have to follow the 120 some hours of state training every year. So if they're working another job and trying to do this as a part, as a assistance thing, it's almost impossible. So I only have 5 now. It's really cut down on all the state programs.
Okay.
But they come out and they assist us at the hill climb, and they assist us on calls. They have the full capability of a law enforcement officer.
Okay.
So they're a great group of people.
Nice. All right. Serious stuff aside, let's get into a little fun stuff here. What is the most unexpected skill you picked up while training special forces and law enforcement around the world?
I think the ability to laugh.
Okay.
Because here's the thing, you're dealing with all kinds of different people, right?
Right.
And the jokes and the things that happen during those events. I was always a pretty serious person. I was very dedicated and very intense.
Okay.
And I think, working with so many different types of people that maybe have language barriers or have different education levels or just how they do things it changes how you deal with things. Mm-hmm. So I think part of that is, and the best ability I think I picked up through everything is networking.
Okay.
Being able to network with people and just become those friends of folks that you normally would never ever meet.
Very good. What's your go-to karaoke song after a long day of counterterrorism and community outreach? If you do karaoke.
If they had a song identified as "Why," that would be it. But I think in my career we're dealing with so many different issues. It's I won't back down.
Okay.
I think that one was one I just went.
That's Tom Petty?
Yeah, Tom Petty.
Okay. Nice.
Yep.
All right. If you had the opportunity as sheriff, what's the first thing you would outlaw? Pineapple on pizza or slow drivers in the left lane like I faced coming up today?
I think slow drivers in the left lane. There is a law actually.
Yeah.
But I like pineapple on pizza.
Okay.
So.
All right. Which Colorado animal would be your official mascot? A bald eagle, a bighorn sheep, or a Teller County bear in sunglasses?
I would think the bear in sunglasses. Bears are cool to begin with. We deal with them all the time, right? And they are probably the most lax, hangout type animals you'll ever meet. I see them in the trees. As a deputy, you go to these homes all the time. This bear will climb up a tree and just kind of hang out, put his arm over the edge and just watch and go. So to me, it is just kind of a chill way of being, right?
There you go.
But also, you don't want to poke the bear.
Exactly.
Because he's going to have a temper too. That's enough. So, yep, I think that would be it.
Good. All right, lightning round. What's your coffee order? What's your fave?
It's usually not a dark roast. It's a light roast, just black coffee.
Okay. Favorite Colorado season?
Oh, fall. Fall is my favorite. You start wearing jackets again. It's just beautiful.
There you go, especially up here.
Yep.
Yeah, right up here. Last show that you binge watched?
No, it's a Jason Momoa one that just came out. It's War Chief.
Okay.
I think that was the last one.
Okay. Favorite tactical gear and why?
So, I'm a 45 guy, right? I like the 1911 45s. But, so for me, it's a little old school, but I like the lower slung tactical holsters, and I'm now big into the shadow systems, which is a Glock variant.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Glock. Used them throughout all my training years, and I've used them pretty much everywhere in the world. The AR-15 systems, it doesn't matter what, they're all pretty much the same. They're good. The load-bearing vests, I like those much better than I do the armor systems nowadays, just because I had a little more speed and movement. But it's funny, I wear the tactical vest just like all the deputies. If you look at my deputies, they got stuff shoved everywhere on these things.
Right.
I don't even know how they get through a doorway. Me, I like it slicked out, and I like my magazines on my belt still.
Okay.
Because I think it's faster, and I carry a knife on my vest, and that's it.
Nice. So. All right. Would you rather wrestle a bear or debate a teenager?
I'd much rather debate a teenager. Right? I've seen what a bear can do to an animal, but the other side of it too is I had 3 boys that were teenagers, right? I loved debate. I had one. He was a science kid. This kid, he wanted to be, I can't remember the scientist's name, but they do explosions in space. That was,
okay.
And he's even in now more engineering and software stuff for security. And I remember we would sit and watch the stars, and I would debate him on whether there were aliens or not. Just to debate it, because I found it fun.
Yes.
So I do enjoy debating teenagers because they believe they have this idea of what it is, and you can throw little things in there that just create a whole different world look for them. So I do enjoy that.
That's a good deal. All right, one thing you wish people knew about law enforcement?
That they're people too. I think the biggest thing I see is I want them to know that they're, these are family people, either women or men, and I want them to understand these people have lives too, just like anybody else.
Right.
They can love who they want to love. They can live the way they want to live. And that they are actually held to such a high standard, it crushes them on a daily basis now in society.
Right.
I think the most tears that I shed anymore are over how they're treated and how they're looked at and how they're dealt with in the public eye. I think those are the things that for me to know about law enforcement officers, either the federal ICE guys or anyone else, they are sons and daughters that were raised here in the United States, and we owe them respect and love just like everybody else.
Well, I think, I understand what you're saying there, and like everything, I think it's slowly coming back around after what we've been through the last couple of years with everything. So I'd like to see, I think the kids growing up need to know, back when I was going to school, the police officer is our friend.
Yeah.
We don't hear about that anymore because they're fed so much BS and they believe what they see, believe what they read, believe what they hear. So it's like anything else. Everything's going to go back around to the police officer is our friend. Get the young kids to understand that police officers are not bad. Police officers are good. That's who you want to talk to if you've got an issue, if you're left alone in a store or something. It's got to get back to the police officer is our friend.
Well, you know what I think is happening, and I don't get into the controversy of all the crazy stuff that's out there, but I will tell you, I do think that colleges and schools do indoctrinate kids nowadays to a point of, because I see it every day with who we deal with, but not about politics or anything else, but it's just a belief that it's okay to challenge authority all the time.
Oh, yes.
And you know what? I think at some points there is a need to challenge some authority. And what I mean by that is that I want to challenge the idea of how we do things now.
Right.
And I want to bring new ideas. But I think it's gone overboard where now I'm going to challenge the people and the laws and the doctrine and make us the society that we are.
Right.
I think when that flipped into that in colleges, and then it got pushed more down through younger teacher staff and into school systems, without a broader worldview and understanding of what maybe they were being taught, so it became a very narrow focus.
Right.
I think that's what I see now as to being why that has started the way it has. Because if you sit and talk to kids about what they learn about people in authority, it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat, Republican, it really is to push back against authority.
Exactly.
And I think that's the scary part for me, because it's, you have to have something or there's chaos all the time.
Right.
And it does make it hard for my officers to deal with younger kids. Because we're seeing it with how they're being taught about authority and that they can challenge authority and it's okay and not to respect the law if they're not being respected.
Right.
But respect is earned.
Exactly.
It's not just given.
See.
Right? So I think those are the things that I see on that.
Well, they either learn it the right way or they learn it the hard way. Hopefully they, take it. But, again, encouraging my students, of course you want to ask questions. Why?
Absolutely.
But there is drawing the line where I'm an authority figure, so you pretty much better listen to what I'm saying. I'm not just Joe Schmo coming off the street and everything. So, that's got to come back around too, because 12-year-olds saying I have rights and they're challenging you, it's definitely something that we need to get back.
Well, I think martial arts is a good way. I had martial arts when I was a kid, and I loved it. It was great, but it also taught you a lot of. I remember a time in my life. I had a gentleman. We were in a dojo, and he said, "Hit me," because he would come down the line, right? Well, I didn't hit him where he thought I was going to hit him. Boy, I paid the penalty for that after that, right? Because it was respect.
Yes.
And I had a great relationship with him. But I will tell you, sometimes being that smart alecky kid that thinks he knows everything, you do need that type of reinforcement that you will do it the way it is taught.
Yes. So it seems like the message for this whole thing is just everyone getting back to the respect factor in what we're doing, working with everyone, integrating with each one, and just show respect and not, butting heads all the time. Human beings, like what I like, don't like what I like, but we've all got opinions and we're all, meant to be challenged. But just respect at the end of the day.
Well, I think that's it, Tom. The more respect is given, the more is received. And I think in life, and that's something I've come to in this job, and I'm coming towards the end of my term, right? Okay. So fortunately I can say what I want to say, and what I've learned in the past is that you have to just always say what you think. That's a respect towards the people that you are
very much so, yes,
watching out for, right? Because if you're not honest and you're not true to them, just like in politics, you're not being true to yourself either, and you fail. So to be respectful is sometimes not what everybody thinks it is.
There you go. All right, and that's a wrap on today's episode of Teller Time. Huge thanks to Sheriff Jason Mikesell for joining us, sharing not just tactical wisdom, but a deep love for Teller County and the people who make it strong. From counterterrorism to community trust, he's proof that leadership can be both fearless and local. And Jason, how do people get in touch with you? I know you're very visible out there. You're also very busy, but what's the best way if people want to have a cup of coffee with you? What would they do?
I think reach out through our social media piece and or call the sheriff's office and request a meeting. I'll be honest, to request a meeting right now is really tough. I am just gone so much. But if I can, or we run a lot of the meetings at town halls, especially more towards this time of year, just because it's easier, people are wanting to stay home a little bit more, we'll be doing those. So come out and see us, and then I hope to see you soon.
All right, folks, grab your calendar, lace up your boots, and let's dive into what's coming up here in Teller County. I know we have a big baseball event and a soup event coming up, so Charlie's going to tell us a little bit more about both these events. Go ahead, Charlie.
Yeah, thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. Yes, we have Potato Soup Supper, which is coming up here on Friday, October 10th. The doors open at 5:15. It's an incredible event. We have a lot of our patrons, our volunteers are here. It's a volunteer appreciation time, but also we're going to have a guest speaker who is a member of the Colorado Vintage Baseball Association, and he's also playing in a vintage baseball game we have on the next day. I'll get to that in just a second, but please try to come out and check out this Potato Soup Supper. The soups are so good. They have 4 different styles of potato soup, along with all the dinner salads and rolls and drinks. And
desserts.
Yes, and dessert. That's right, Tom.
I'll be making a soup. I'll be making a soup and dessert for this event.
That's fantastic.
Yes, sir.
So, yeah, it's one you don't want to really miss. It happens once a year. It's fantastic. And it's put on by the UPass Historical Society. And we are also hosting the game the next day, October 11th at 1 p.m. The Divide Fire crews are playing the Colorado Vintage Baseball All-Stars. and they will be playing at 1 o'clock, like I said. And it's going to be a great game. The popcorn, Cracker Jacks, all that stuff's going to be there. Hot dogs. And these hot dogs are the jumbo, awesome hot dogs. So, yeah, come prepared to eat some stuff and join in with when these guys start singing, take me out to the ball game. So that's it, Tom.
You going to have a vendor with a monkey there, too?
You know... Anything's possible, but I haven't heard that one. Who knows? No, I don't think so.
Well, that's some good stuff. Yeah, we got some good soup coming up, some good baseball coming up. So, again, please join us. You never know what the weather's going to be like in Teller County, Woodland Park, but it should be hopefully a nice, crisp fall day for a good game, and then come in and have some warm soup the night beforehand. So, yes, look for details on Facebook for both the baseball game and the soup supper. All right. Following up with last week's interview with Lawrence Smith of the Butte Theater, just a reminder that The Vampire of Cripple Creek is now playing Friday and Saturday, October 3rd and 4th up there at the theater. They have nighttime shows. They have matinees. So you can call 719-689-6402 for more ticket information. Okay, the Divide Library had its grand opening here at the Pikes Peak Community Center on this past Wednesday, and it was very successful. Pikes Peak Community Center, again, is a little white building on the corner of 24 and 67 next to Teller Tire. Got a lot of programs going on for the young ones and the old ones, some good books, a bunch of things. But for more information and hours, you need to call the Florissant Public Library at 719-748-3939. And our big event coming up towards the middle of the month is the Young Entrepreneurs Start Smart Expo. And that will be happening at the Ute Pass Cultural Center on Saturday, October 18th from 10 to 2. It's a free event, and this is going to be all about empowering the youth to showcase their creativity, business savvy, and their entrepreneurial spirit. There will be speakers discussing marketing, how to sell, how to present yourself, what to know about registering with Colorado, and perhaps how to get a small business loan. So we got 4 or 5 speakers going on. Runs from 10 to 2. If anyone, any listeners have any young kids out there trying to start a business or sell a product, please get up with me, Thom Seehafer, and let's get them in here. Thanks for being a part of this conversation today. Stay curious, stay connected, and remember, every voice in Teller County has a story worth telling. Let's hear yours. You can find Teller Time, that's 2 words, on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and Facebook. Please hit the like or the subscribe button if you see it. Until next time, this is Tom and Charlie. Appreciate you taking the time to listen. And remember, man conquers the world by conquering himself.